Let me just tell you about a great opportunity. My family and I had an opportunity to spend 5 months in Western Kenya working at a very busy mission hospital there. And it was our privilege to be at a place called Tenwood Hospital. And when we took care of patients there, most of them were very sick. They were badly burned, they were badly injured, and they had advanced diseases. And at times the pace truly was overwhelming. We'd operate all day during the day, but many times we operate most of the hours at night. And on the weekend, it seemed like we were operating for hours on the endless emergencies that presented that needed surgery. And honestly, sometimes the patients would come in at such a fast pace and a frantic pace that they just all blurred together in our mind. They became just a blur in the constant activity of just trying to do what you could to help them. But then there are those patients who come in and something is different. Time seems to stand still when you think about these patients. Something about their illness, something about their faith, something about their social situation, something about their story causes you to never, ever forget that patient. One such little boy came for us to take care of the first part of October. His name was P. and he's 14 years old, and he's from a small village called Kanoy. Kanoy is tucked in a mountainside some 20 miles from Tenwood Hospital. And he presented to us with a history of being unable to eat. And because anytime he tried to eat, he would vomit. And because this had been going on for 2 years, he was weak and he was emaciated. He could no longer play with the children at his school. As a matter of fact, he had fallen far, far behind in his schoolwork. He was failing in school. He's the last of 5 children. His father is alcoholic, and his mom does everything she can, working tirelessly from sun up to sundown, just to provide enough food for this family to have. They are very, very poor people. His mom couldn't afford the 200 shillings to get a ride to the hospital at $1.50. Instead, she walked 6 hours to see her 6 sons. And when P. presented to us, he was wearing the only clothes that he had available. No shoes. The only thing P. was wearing was a tattered, flowered, dirty girl's dress. His eyes were sunken. He could only stand with assistance. At 14 years of age, he only weighed 50 pounds. His arms and his legs and his face looked like a skeleton with skin stretched over it. And we were all concerned that he had AIDS or tuberculosis or some form of cancer. But all the tests were negative. And so a few days later, we decided that he probably had some kind of intestinal obstruction. And I took him to the operating room, and a simple little operation. What I found is that he had a simple band of scar tissue completely obstructing his intestines. And a simple little operation completely relieved the obstruction. And after surgery, he was well on his way to getting the strength and health. Since I didn't speak English, I had Pastor Helen, one of the pastors there at the hospital, I asked her to spend time with him, to find out about his social situation, and to find out whether he knew Jesus as his personal Savior. I also asked her to do me a favor and get a Bible in his language, the Kitsappi language. And I asked her to mark Jeremiah 29:11 and reassure this little 14-year-old boy that the plans that God had for P. were for good and not evil, to give him a future that was full of hope. My wife and I, it was our privilege to go to one of the local markets nearby, and we spent a few shillings to buy him some new clothes and some new shoes and a backpack for his school book. We made sure that we kept the 2 shillings. We made sure we kept the 2 shillings in every pocket that we could find. A few days later, it happened to be when Joel and Victoria had come to visit us there at Kendall. Pastor Helen called me and she was so excited. I said, Pastor Helen, what's going on? And she told me that not only had Kip but his mom had trusted Jesus as their Savior that very day. You know, Kip left Tenwood Hospital at the end of October. On his way to regaining his health, he left with some new clothes and some new shoes and a coat for the cool winter nights there. And he left with the first-hand knowledge that there on a hillside in Western Kenya were a group of people who demonstrated to him the love, the care, and and the compassion of our Savior. I don't think I'll ever forget Kipkara. I don't think I'll forget his story. I don't think I'll forget his emaciated little body. I'll never forget his face. But what is forever etched in my memory are his eyes. When you look at his eyes, you might say you see despair or exhaustion or someone's very near death. But it's interesting, when I look in Kipkara's eyes, I see something totally different. What I see in that deep, almost haunting stare is hope. Just a glimmer, but if you look close enough, it's there. Hope that someone might still care for him. Hope that someone might reach out a hand to help him in his time of need. Hope that someone might feed him and clothe him. And hope that someone might still believe that for Kipkara, God's plans are for good and not evil. To give him a hope that's full of, a future that's full of hope, a future that's full of meaning, and a future that's full of purpose. What a privilege it is for me to be a part of this ministry. A ministry that reaches out to people not only with a message of hope, but with the hands of hope. And then we reach out to people just like Kipkara all around this world.